Hi everyone and welcome back. Today I'm focusing on Sunbasket, giving you a really extensive review of this very popular food delivery service. Like a lot of the other services out there, you have options that you can make on the website. Sunbasket promises to offer many premium ingredients, including some organic ingredients. There are a lot of choices you can make with Sunbasket, and I have to say from the beginning, the meals are very good and some of the best tasting meals. I've also experienced some issues, but I found that the customer service for resolving those issues was absolutely at the top in terms of all the food delivery services I've tried. So we'll take an honest look today. Again, this is not sponsored by Sunbasket. It's my own impressions, having been a Sunbasket customer for many months. So let's take a look now and talk about Sunbasket, the home delivery food service. Okay, so I wanted to mention to you some other food videos that I have available as well. One of the things you realize doing these reviews is that a lot of people are interested in home food delivery services. I think even before COVID-19, a lot of people wanted the convenience, the taste, the quality, opportunities for variety in their food choices that maybe they don't get if they shop for themselves and cook for themselves. So these are the other videos I've done in the food video series, and this includes Freshly, which has the most number of views, somewhere close to 30,000 views, so thank you for listening. Tara's Kitchen, Home Chef, and a number of other services. I'll also be adding Factor 75 recently as I had a chance to check that out. I discovered recently, though, that there are so many services out there that it would be really challenging to try to certainly review every one of these services. One of my tips, though, that I would suggest to you is, in addition to watching these videos, and I think you often get a very clear sense of ideas about what these services are like by just checking out a video and seeing, what is the packaging like? What are the menus like? What are the options, the prices, the different choices if you have dietary restrictions? A lot of those details, of course, are subjective, and so a challenge of any food service is going to be how it relates to your personal preferences. But one of my tips of advice for you is to really say, because most of these companies offer a discount coupon or a discount in the first or maybe first order or second, third, fourth orders in the service, you can try some things out and see if you like them. What my wife and I are doing right now with Factor 75 is we had a 30% off or $30 discount for the first round, and we decided we weren't going to order new menus for the following weeks until we tried all 8 of the dishes that we ordered for through Factor 75. And so you have a lot of options. And in fact, one of the issues I know that the food companies face is that because people often try the first time or maybe 2 or 3 times, they sometimes don't continue with the services over the long haul. And that's certainly been the case with me and my wife and the number of services we've tried. So we can talk about that in some other contexts and other videos. But I did want to mention that because the coupons are offered, you should definitely consider trying one of the food services. If you don't like it, you can always discontinue the service. And check out sites like Honey, which allow you to put coupons into some of the coupon places in some of these food service offerings in the carts and so forth. So it's a good opportunity for you to maybe find some foods that you like and some food delivery services that you like as well. Okay, so we'll do the unboxing portion of this review of the Sunbasket food delivery service. I always enjoy the unboxing because it gives you a sense of, obviously, what's in the box. And for me, it does tell quite a bit about the meal delivery service. So you're seeing that your meals here will arrive in 1 or 2 boxes. It depends on how many you order. If you order 2 to 3 items, depending on if they are the easy meals like the pappardelle or the penne with the spinach, those could fit in 2 or 3 could fit in 1 box. But you will always have the meals that take a little more prep. Everything comes in one of those paper bags, which is nice. The paper bags have a label on them, and so that tells you exactly what is in each of these. And you can also pull out the recipe card. You're seeing the label right there. I have this sped up just to make it a little faster. So you see there's a recipe card. This is an Asian noodle dish. And then you pull out all the ingredients. They're all included for you. They're all labeled. Very easy to use and to stick in your fridge. I like to transfer these just for food safety with COVID to plastic bags. They're really cheap non-Ziploc bags, and then keep those in the fridge. When we want to make one, we pull out that whole bag and we're ready to go. Probably fine to use this as well. There's one of the pre-made meals. I think they're saying now with COVID, paper surfaces are not maybe as susceptible to transmitting the virus, if at all. So you're seeing some of the other meals here. And as I said earlier, you're going to receive between 1 and 2 boxes. And one concern I have with all food delivery services, including here Sunbasket, is just the carbon footprint. The fact that you have so much cardboard, the fact that you have so much insulation, the ice packs, some of this is recyclable if it's denim and so forth. Right below there, you're seeing the packaging. You have all your proteins, any add-ons, proteins, shrimp, salmon, and then you see that's the non-GMO cotton, 99 or 98% water. So some of this is recyclable. I just have a concern about the carbon footprint of having that much stuff to throw in the trash when you're done. So it's always a concern, but you could say there's that same concern if you buy anything from a store, from Amazon. It requires carbon to drive your car there. If there's packaging, there's always going to be an issue. And of course, for a food delivery service, you need to protect the food. Earlier in the video, we looked at that liability waiver that people are asked to sign. So you actually saw there was some mint, a little bit brown. So even with the packaging, the insulation, which seems really good, and the ice packs, you do sometimes get some bad ingredients or some ingredients that maybe lack the freshness. And that is maybe a concern. And I talk about that a little bit later in the video related to complaints and complaint processes. Seeing some additional examples of what you receive. So as you can see in this shipment, 2 boxes. The boxes are fairly heavy. Again, you do have a lot of waste to deal with, either to throw in your trash or to recycle, depending on how you approach your trash situation. So that is a little bit of the unboxing experience. It's probably similar to what you expect. You're also seeing there at the bottom there some of the other proteins, the ground turkey and the ground chicken. Always look below that when you get any delivery from Sunbasket. Okay, so in this next section, we can talk about how Sunbasket works. So it's very typical to other food delivery meal systems. You will go online or use an app and select meals for the week. You can customize a plan based on how many servings you want per week. You can, of course, go in and make choices based on broad categories related to meat or poultry, seafood, vegetarian. They don't have a lot of options for other nutritional issues, which we'll talk in this video in some other areas. When you get your meals, you'll get recipe cards, and you're seeing a series of those. This is actually the insert, the inside of the recipe card. It has information about ingredients on the left. In the middle, it has the steps for going through the recipes, and on the right bottom, it has often indication about what kids can do to help out with the meals safely. If you flip over to the back of the card, you'll get some information about the origin of the dish, if it has an ethnic origin, which most recipes do, and then also nutritional information provided. Note they don't provide the calories, and I read something online that the nutritional experts at Sunbasket have some different views on weight loss and healthy diet, related not so much to calories, but more to the nutritional quality of the ingredients in the meals, which is, I think, pretty interesting. And certainly there is a lot of competing conversation and analysis about what makes for a healthy meal and an unhealthy meal. So that's probably something you could discover on your own. So these are all the recipe cards I've collected over time. We've given some grades to them and made some notes. So if you see that and you're wondering, that's what you're seeing. Very attractive recipe cards. You can certainly, they're small enough, as you can see, compared to my hand, that you could save these, you could write comments, you could recall maybe your favorites or least favorites, and then use those when you order future meals with Sunbasket down the road. You can go online and look at your previous meals, but keep in mind that after 3 months or so, those will disappear from your schedule. So it's why I like to have the recipe cards on hand so I can recall what were some of the better meals and some of the ones I didn't enjoy. So I think what's unique about Sunbasket is some of the flavors that you're going to get, some of the ethnic flavors from all over the world, the possibility for organic ingredients. And I have to say Sunbasket has some of the best tasting meals that I've had in any of the food delivery services that I have tried. So if you get a chance to try out Sunbasket, hopefully you can enjoy some of these very good meals as well. Hey everyone, and I wanted to mention that if you go to the bottom of the recipe card right under the nutritional information on the back, you'll see a website address. So as you see here, you just type in that website address. It takes you to the website for that recipe, and it has the full nutritional information, including the calories for that item. So anytime you want to get the expanded nutritional information from Sunbasket, go to the website using that URL or web code on the back of each recipe card. Okay, so let's take a moment then to look at the Sunbasket website. And like a lot of the other food service delivery systems out there, you can also access this with an app. And I would say overall, it's a very clean website. It has everything laid out in a way that makes it pretty navigatable to find everything that you need. And the left column here has all the information about the extras and the add-ons and so forth. Probably for the most part, you'll be interacting with this page here. This shows you what is in your basket for any given week. I can click on schedule. And this is pretty important because if you don't want a meal a given week, if you forget about it by your cutoff day, which for me is typically a Wednesday, it may vary for you. If it doesn't say skipped, then like this one here, that will automatically be delivered to me. So I want to just make sure that I don't forget that or cancel my subscription. So this has all the information. You can also click on past orders. And this is pretty handy if you want to see if you had any issues with your meals. It tends to cut off after a while, so this only goes back to mid-May. And you could click on any of the meals here, and then this will tell you the information of what's in there, your any of your add-ons like your turkey and so forth. It also has the instructions if you don't want to use the recipe cards or if you forget a recipe card or lose it. A couple times I did have missing recipe cards, and that was a little bit annoying because I really prefer using the recipe cards than having to look online at the app or the website. So this is just showing you a variety of different meals that I ordered in the past, and as you can see, we have stayed with Sunbasket for quite a while. I don't think we're going to be continuing, but again, some of that relates to some dietary issues, certainly not the quality of the meals. This was our last one, and we just ordered these two, and we had a credit for some issues we had with some past meals. So if I click here, you can actually achieve VIP status after a certain period of time. I'm not entirely sure what the VIP club does for you. It has the information here, but I never necessarily felt like it was a club per se. You can do ratings of your orders if you want. So you could click thumbs up, and it's probably like, and of course a coupon comes up. It's probably like, if you do thumbs up on Pandora on a radio station or something, it'll maybe keep suggesting this for you. And I guess I could click the reasons I liked it, and has that there. So that's, I guess, pretty handy to maybe track. You can also, it looks like, donate Sunbasket, give Sunbasket to someone. They do have a referral system, so if you refer someone, you can get $40, and they can also get $40. The help information, in another section of this video, I cover issues that you might have and complaints and how to handle those online. And then this is the actual meal plan. So when you first set up Sunbasket, you can choose your meal plan. And this shows you the menu pricing, 2 dinners versus 3 dinners. And each of these is 2 servings. So again, you can kind of do the math and see if you think that is in your budget or not. It varies, of course, with just what you have available. If you add anything on, like I said, extras, including extras to given meals, that can be upwards of $12 just for, say, a piece of salmon to add it. So that is definitely something to think about in terms of the add-ons. I've never seen this here. Extreme temperature waiver. Interesting. Okay, it's saying here, I'm aware that this is a release and waiver of liability resulting from illness or death in connection with participation in the program. I hereby acknowledge that this release and waiver of liability is irrevocable. Probably not pertinent to a meal delivery system, but I guess I should sign it. It's the first time I actually saw that. So that is signed. Here are the terms of agreement if you want to look at that. We're under the settings. If you want to look at payments and billing, this will show you the information about previous meals. And again, you can see the pricing on these. So if we look at the most expensive, which is $143, that is not including, there was a $5 discount, so it's actually $5 more. Again, the shipping is always $7.99. That kind of is an issue. It seems a little expensive. And one of the things you note with Sunbasket is they often will ship, because they're not shipping small meals, and you're getting, as you'll see with the unboxing part of the video, you probably need a lot of ice and packing material to keep everything safe and so forth. And so this shows you how much each meal costs, and it shows you any of the add-ons. So if you want to add salmon, that's how much it costs, organic skinless chicken breast and so forth. So when you start adding those on, it certainly does increase your price, and I think that's one issue I find with Sunbasket. It can get pretty spendy. If you're spending every week this amount of money, just do a quick, I'm not going to do this in my head, but if you spent $145 as an average every week and you multiply that times 52 weeks, that would be, $7,540 a year. So you can compare that to your groceries and see how that would work out. But certainly I think the cost of any food meal service is always undermines probably when we're thinking about joining a service or staying with it. So I think those are the main parts of the website. Again, when you are getting ready to add a meal, because this is skipped, it's not giving me the option, you then go in and actually choose all your options. This is the meal for September 9th. We can look at, this is in 2020. Let's look at September 16th. So this would show you if we ordered, here's the items that would be in our basket, and then you can go down here, and if you want to add or substitute, you could click this. If you want to select a protein, change it, no add-ons, and that's when you get into the higher costs. And most of these have situations like that. Thighs are no additional cost. If you do organic thighs, 99 cents per serving. So if you have 2 servings times 2, and then organic skinless chicken breast would be another $2.49 per serving. So it does add up over time. And you can also see just all the other meals here, the options. If it's one of the fresh and readies or pre-prepped, which are very speedy, it will also indicate that on the menu. And they do divvy it up or divide it by certain areas. For example, you could click on vegetarian. It looks like they do new ones all the time. We haven't ordered in a couple weeks, but this mushroom dish is brand new, as are these tostadas. So it seems like they do a good job with continuing to update the menu over time. And as we looked at before in this video, these are all the extras. So once you scroll down this part of the menu, you are able to see all the extras. And if you'd like on your own, you could certainly, I'm not going to share it in this video, check out the app. The app is very similar to this, not as full featured, but it will certainly allow you to check on some things and also order your weekly items and swap things out and so forth. All right, so let's look at a sample meal, and this will be one of the more complicated ones. I'll show you a series of sample meals, the easy to make, pre-prepared, throw in the oven or microwave, and then this is the full-fledged one. I've sped up the video just to make it a little bit quicker here. Try to take you through the whole process and just show you what's involved in a typical Sunbasket meal. I'm trying to guess on this one. I would say it ran about 45 minutes if I had to guess, just looking at the time of my video that I've sped up here. So one of the things I think about with any meal service is to decide how much time you have. Obviously other factors like budget, and I mentioned these by the way in that longer video on an overview of food delivery services. But anytime you're thinking about nutrition or cost or prep or the quality of the ingredients, you obviously want to ask questions about how this is going to fit into your lifestyle. So this was a very hearty dish. I thought it had great flavor. Some stuff is pre-prepped, so the peas there are ready for you. You don't have to do anything with the peas. There is a vegan cream sauce that goes with this. It's kind of like a stroganoff. And so that is pre-prepped. And then the things you have to chop up are fairly minimal. It has some spinach, which I'm washing in the sink during this video. And then you can see it has some other parsley there, Italian parsley, chop up on the right. Some very nice fresh cremini mushrooms, some red onion in the background there. The nice thing about having the fresh ingredients is not only is it fresh, but you can customize to your liking. If you don't like a lot of onion, or you want less mushrooms, or you want to leave something out, you could still order that from Sunbasket for the week, but then you can customize it. So my wife doesn't like as much onion, so I decided I will cut the onions a little bit. I can assure you my knife skills are not that mad. This is sped up. It actually looks really impressive, but it's not as impressive as it looks in real time. I just got that set of knives from Costco. Found them to be really good. So in this one, we're going to put in our pasta. And we're also going to have a pan ready that's going to be for frying all the ingredients, starting with the onions, throwing the mushrooms in to create the sauce. We're going to add in the vegan stroganoff sauce as well. And it's vegan, indicating that you can certainly get vegetarian and vegan options with Sunbasket. Chopping up the mushrooms here. I just love how this looks in real time because it looks so fast. I'm not that fast. I try to be careful as much as I can. I caught myself a couple weeks ago doing something really stupid, getting a seed of an avocado with one of these very knives, and it didn't go so well. So, as always, be careful. I mentioned here a lot of the recipe cards have what kids can do, and so they will tell you certain things that kids are able to do safely. So if you want to cook with your family, it can also be a fun way to use something like Sunbasket as an opportunity to bring your family together over the dinner table, but also in the kitchen as you prepare some of these meals. Every single meal, by the way, I've reviewed other services, and I'm just adding this porcini mushroom dry mixture to the stroganoff sauce. We're going to create this really nice hearty sauce with the fresh mushrooms and so forth. But I've certainly mentioned in other reviews that sometimes you get issues with the recipe cards. Sometimes you get issues with instructions. There's one service in particular I won't mention, but things were really off, and they actually wouldn't work if you did it the way that they said it. It was one of the more pre-made services, if you will, and they had some total errors that ended up really would potentially have been a mistake had I followed them. What I'm saying about Sunbasket is it's the opposite. Never had an issue. A couple times missed some ingredient cards, but never had an issue with inaccurate instructions or instructions that took you in the wrong direction or mentioning things like ingredients that didn't exist. So never had an issue with that at all. So I'm really happy to report that, because with some of these services, certainly you get into the issue of mistakes in the instructions. We've all put together things, electronic equipment, and the same issue comes up. So in the case of Sunbasket, they've really proofread and double checked and looked for typos and all that stuff. So we're adding the onions in here. Typically they will ask you to add your own salt and pepper. Most meal services are standard in that sense, where they ask you to provide certain things from your pantry, like salt and pepper and olive oil. They're not going to include that for you. I've never had a service that does that. So we're cooking the pasta. Again, this is sped up, so the pasta will take different amounts of time to cook depending on your elevation. For us, it was probably over 20 minutes or so. You do have to be aware of that and sometimes adjust things for elevation if you're talking about baking something in the oven or cooking a pasta or whatever. So fairly easy. I think what you're seeing what Sunbasket is, I wouldn't say it's as involved as Home Chef or Green Chef. It's definitely more involved than Factor 75. It's more involved than Freshly, because those are like pop in the microwave and you're done. But it's not full-fledged what you often find with Home Chef or Green Chef. And I appreciated that because sometimes you want to cook something fresh, but you necessarily maybe don't want to take as much time as it could take. Now, this is still upwards of 40 to 45 minutes to make a meal. We're going to take some of the pasta water, very common technique, just to get some of that nice flavor in there, and add it to these rich mushrooms. This dish has great umami flavor to it. You're getting all that porcini, You're getting that from the mushrooms, fresh mushrooms, and that porcini powder. So we're taking the pasta out here. Eventually, we're going to add everything together and mix it up. This one's making my mouth water a little bit. It is reminding me of how great some of the Sunbasket meals are. And you'll see in another section of the video where I have all the cards, and my wife and I devised a system of grading the meals after we ate them. And the cards, the recipe cards are super attractive, so you can actually keep them and have them as maybe souvenirs or reminders of which meals you liked. And then in the future, you can make a decision. Because keep in mind, the invoices and the orders listed on the website do expire after, I want to say, like right now, we're in August, so mid-May, May, June, July. So 3 months or so, over 3 months. So you have some time to go back and kind of spark your memory and remember what you liked or didn't like about certain meals. And that's one of the fun things about a food delivery service, is that you can customize things, and over time you can make some decisions about what you liked and what you didn't. So we added the pasta water, we added that really good umami sauce with the porcini blend, the dried powder. We're going to cook that up real nice, and then we're going to add the pasta in there. So I really would say that Sunbasket has some of the best tasting meals out there. I think some people get Sunbasket because of the organic. Again, not everything is organic in Sunbasket. Most of the ingredients tend to be. I would say the best thing about Sunbasket in a lot of ways is just the quality of the meals. Had some issues with bad ingredients and missing ingredients, as I mentioned in another part of this video. But the good news is the customer service is amazing, and the website, whether you use the self-service for complaints or talk to a human agent, is absolutely top-notch, and I never had an issue. I always got it resolved. Every time I complained about an issue, I received a minimum $5 credit to upwards of $21.95 if that was the cost of the particular meal for that week, if it was a total bust in terms of missing ingredients. Those recipe cards, really amazing, nice to look at. They do a great job with graphic design for all the cards, and they're so attractive and small. Again, you can keep them on your bookshelf as we do, just to keep track of what we liked and didn't like. So now we're adding the spinach to the mix. So you're getting this sped up version. I think this is about 4 times speed. This is about a 9-minute video I'm recording right now. So I would say that, again, upwards of 35 to 45 minutes that it took, including the plating and all that kind of stuff, taking out of the bags. But again, if you enjoy cooking, if you enjoy fresh foods, you're not going to get something like this that tastes this good. And just look how good that looks. You can tell from this video that that's going to be a very good meal. I talk in other parts of this video about nutrition and making some carb choices in the future, so I will not be eating this again, but it will surely be missed because it was a great tasting meal with all that rich umami flavor. The peas are really good in there. The pasta is nice and hearty. The spinach is a nice green in there, and it's just a really satisfying vegetarian or vegan meal. So we will plate this and call this meal to a close, but hopefully that gives you a sense of start to finish, sped up here, what a Sunbasket more complicated meal looks like in terms of the prep and the cooking and everything through the plating. Okay, so now let's look at a sample easy meal. So one of the things with Sunbasket is that you can choose between these more complex meals or these easier ones. The easier ones are in some ways ready to go, and this is a Southwest turkey dish that comes with basically everything pre-made for you. So you're going to just pop that in the oven or the microwave, and then it has some fixings on the side that includes a lime and also an avocado spread. So this one is pretty easy to put together. You simply take it out of the package. As you can see on the top there, it has jalapenos, olives, diced sweet potatoes, and then the turkey style mix in there. So it has a lot of, I think, good flavor to it. This is the recipe card that you'll get with it, and you can just get a better sense of what it's called, the Southwestern turkey and sweet potato skillet. Sunbasket has some really good recipes in the pre-made categories. This is another one. This is their creamy mushroom penne with baby spinach and almonds. There's another one they offer too, a pappardelle, that is very similar setup. You have the pasta pre-made. You simply undo the wrapping, you stick it in the oven or the microwave, and then towards the end you'll put in the spinach to get wilted spinach. And this shows you the information. As you can see on the ingredient list, not everything is organic with Sunbasket. I know Sunbasket stresses there are organic meals, but I wanted to mention that because I think that's one issue potentially with Sunbasket is the fact that it's not 100% organic. But an argument could be made that if you're eating mostly organic, and indeed a majority of the ingredients seem to be organic, then that's a pretty good thing in terms of just staying healthy and eating more organic foods. Okay, and this is a little more involved one as far as the pre-made meals. So this one will involve a salad. We'll have to mix together some ingredients. Very typically you'll get spinach. In this case it's baby greens. I think I'll show you the quality of these. I did find like they were somewhat wilted a little bit. And one of the concerns I have certainly with Sunbasket and other home delivery meal services is that if you order certain things, if you get fresh spinach, a lot of vegetables, if they're not hearty vegetables, certainly celery, in some cases broccoli, zucchini will probably hold up over time. But for something like this, which is salad greens, as you can see, they're not super duper fresh. You can kind of flash those with some cold water, but it won't necessarily improve the quality of them. So I can't remember this week if I did do a complaint and if I did receive a credit. I could look that up on the invoice. But in any case, it is a concern sometimes with some of the produce that I received with Sunbasket. To be quite honest, though, that's going to be an issue with most of the delivery services. If you get one of the services like Factor 75, or if you get Freshly, and the meals are pre-made for you, you're really not going to have that issue in the sense that you're getting fresh ingredients. That's the upside. The downside is you're not getting fresh ingredients. And whenever you get anything that is cooked already for you and in a package and you just stick it in the microwave, of course, the flavor of it, the enjoyment of the meal can certainly go down a bit. So that's a bit of a trade-off with these services. If you go more towards a Freshly or Factor 75 with the pre-made meals versus Sunbasket, and certainly the Green Chef and Home Chef that are very involved with cooking basically everything from scratch. A lot of the steps with Sunbasket are already done for you, but that's an advantage as you're going to get fresher meals just because of that. So in addition to those salad greens, we're going to add to it some pickled carrots, sliced carrots, and again, the slicing is already done for you, so it's a little less work. And we'll be adding those here in just a second. I think I was struggling with getting the packaging open. I do have to say I appreciate services that have, here we go, we're sticking in the salad, services that have options for you. You can go with doing everything almost from scratch, or you can choose something like this, which is almost in between. It's allowing you to do some cooking, if you will, basically mixing of things. And Sunbasket is very good about saying, by the way, what kids can work with in terms of safety, as far as can they mix some of the ingredients and can they do some of the helping in the kitchen. So that's kind of cool that they offer that to families who maybe are looking for that with their kids helping out with the meals. Okay, now you're seeing the main meal. As you noted with some of the previous ones, this is already pre-made for you. This is the cheesy chicken tetrazzini. And I found it to be very good, and it has the side salad, which is what we're looking at. One issue I have with some of the Sunbasket meals is just the calorie levels and the carbs. Currently, I'm on a keto-based diet. I'm cutting sugars and carbs. So for me, this particular meal was great in the past when I was still eating high-calorie, high-carb meals, but it's not so great anymore. So one bit of advice for you with any of the meal services is to definitely check out and make sure that all the nutritional information is going to meet your dietary needs. Okay, so in this next section, let's take a look at some of the meals. What I've done here is just arrange images of the final version of the meal on the plate and the recipe card next to it. You can at any point fast forward through this. I'll just have the images and some music playing. And if you're interested at any time, you can go to the Sunbasket website and check out more of the information about the meals to your own liking. Okay, hopefully that gives you just a sense of what the meals are like in terms of looking at the recipe cards and the final product. Okay, let's have a brief conversation here in terms of Sunbasket's pricing system. I think one of the most important things that probably most of you are thinking about when you're considering a food service, I indeed think about this near the top of my list, up there with the choice of ingredients and the quality of the food, is the price. So this is a series of invoices I'm showing you. So for this particular invoice here, in each of these cases, because I got a discount, the price is actually a little bit more. So that averages with the shipping to be about $30 per meal. Here's another one for July 19th, and you want to just add an extra $10 on to that cost. So close to $125 for 5 meals. Here's another one for $90 for 6 meals, but again, you have to add, in this case, $36.96 to that price, so well over $100. The reason for those discounts was complaints and credits to the account. June 17th, you could see was $143.83, so add 5 to that, so $148.83 for 6 meals. So if you do the math on this, for at least this last week that I showed you, it's about $25 per meal. So you could think about this: if a meal has 2 servings, if you go out for dinner, can you get that for that price or lower? Certainly before COVID, I think we probably would have thought more about going out. I know restaurants are reopening, but there still is a challenge. You could go to any fast casual restaurant like a Chipotle or something of that nature and certainly hit that price point. You could go out to a ramen restaurant and maybe get, a good ramen bowl for $12 or something like that as well. So you just have to think about that when you're making a decision about Sunbasket, like you would for any meal service. Now, we can also talk about whether or not Sunbasket is organic. Indeed, one of the selling points for Sunbasket for my wife and I was the fact that you can certainly get a lot of organic meals. And I'm showing an example here of just a really good noodle dish. This was, I think, a Singaporean hawker-style noodle dish with chicken, really good broth, great umami flavor to it. But one of the things you discover very quickly, looking at the recipe cards here of Sunbasket, is that not everything indeed is organic. In some cases, you just get conventional produce or ingredients. In other cases, you have to pay more for those organic ingredients. In this particular case, I have 3 recipe cards, and I simply have highlighted in yellow anytime one of the ingredients is organic. You see on that same list then anything that's not highlighted is non-organic or conventional. So I think this is going to maybe spark some debate out there in the community of people thinking about meal services. A lot of us want to focus on non-GMOs, healthy meals, vegetarian, vegan, low carb, keto, paleo, etc., etc. So when you're making a decision about a meal service, you can certainly think about the extent to which organic ingredients are available. There are some meal services out there certainly that don't have any available, like a Freshly, or in some cases Factor 75 or other meal services. Sunbasket certainly prides itself on the fact that you can get organic meals. Now, one of the things you can do each week is, in some cases, a default chicken or turkey may come as an organic, or you might be asked to pay a little bit additional. And again, that can range anywhere from 99 cents up through $7.49 for, say, some of the better sustainably raised farm salmon that are available for, say, some of your protein for your dishes. So another consideration that kind of connects the organic issue to the pricing is to what extent you want to pay for those extras and how much of the meal do you want to be organic versus non-organic. So a lot of considerations certainly to think about in terms of pricing and the issue of organic ingredients in Sunbasket meals. Okay, so now we can talk about some of the extras that you can order. And it's kind of a cool feature with Sunbasket that you can order, in addition to your main meals, all sorts of extras, and I'll show you on the website what this looks like. But this is an example of a pasta company that they work with, and I noted that a lot of the extras they offer, including some of the veggie bowls and some of the breakfast quiche type items, you can sometimes find in your local stores. It probably just depends on where you are. So this is this particular pasta company, and I found the pasta was out of this world good, as was the sauce. And this was a particular one. I'm trying to remember the cheese it had in it. You'll see it in a second, but really flavorful pasta. One thing to note about this is that it doesn't last that long in your fridge. It can go moldy very quickly just because it is so darn fresh. And so that, again, that's another advantage to getting something that's so fresh and tastes really close to homemade. A disadvantage, of course, is that you have to use it quickly. Asiago, it's Asiago cheese tortellini. I also had some incredible broccoli rabe, not tortellinis, but raviolis. Those are quite good. And they have sauces. They offer, in some cases, you can't find these because they run out quickly, but you could get the traditional marinara sauce, or you could also get the spicy version. And we tried both of these, and they were very good. The sauces taste so darn fresh. They're not like traditional jar sauces from the big brands. They taste like someone made it homemade, really high quality fresh tomatoes. So this is a sample invoice. In addition to getting extras like the pastas, and we'll look at the website in a second here, you can also upgrade your meals. For example, if you want to have sustainably raised Faroe Island salmon fillets, that's an additional cost. So you can see it's $10.98. If you want organic skinless chicken breasts instead of traditional, it's $4.98. And so some meals will, like the meal on the bottom there, will give you organic chicken strips with it, and that's not an additional cost. In other cases, it is. And so that's another thing to think about Sunbasket or other meal delivery services, is the fact that sometimes there are extras, and when you start adding up those extras on top of shipping and tax, you start to get into meal services, depending on how many you're getting per week, that could be over $100, if not close to $200. So certainly an issue to think about when you're ordering from any of the meal delivery services. Okay, so we're looking at the website, and I just wanted to show you then some of those extras and what that looks like if you're interested. So you have your traditional meals listed here, and this is all the customization you do. They have it set up by seafood and main meals, meat and poultry, and then they have choices for you as well. So if you click on the market combos, those are new, very recent, haven't tried those. Breakfast is an example, and I think we'll just be able to scroll and see everything. So we'll start at the top here, and we should get all the choices in the extras. And so these are the market choices. So you can pick up something like flatbread or a sauce, and you can see the prices here ranging from $3.99 for the flatbread, $5.99. They also have different rice bowls. You can get a soup. And it seems to me these prices aren't bad. Again, $6.99 doesn't seem bad for a soup. Keep in mind that you do have that shipping charge of $7.99, and you have minimums that you have to maintain. So you can look these over and decide if you want to buy a particular type of soup. You have some salads here. Again, my concern about the salads would be whether or not they're going to stay fresh. This is an example here with this pizza company. I know I can get this locally, so I could compare prices if I wanted to. I wouldn't be eating that right now just because of my keto-based diet. You can also look at the super greens. Doesn't seem terribly bad. $3.99 Organic Girl, you can get that in the store as well. And these are the market combos, so you can get something like a curry noodle bowl, and then you can get some fresh fish or some chicken meatballs or grilled chicken to add on top of it. And those run $12.99. And if you click on any of those, you can see the information of the combo, what it has in there. Nice website, by the way. This has everything that's included. So they've included one thing that's already pre-made, which is the farro, and then you can get the boneless chicken breasts, and then also the grape tomatoes. So it's kind of like a more lunch portion version of some of the other meals that you see with the main dinner meals. These are the eggs. I actually tried these ones, didn't like them, got a refund, just my personal preference. Didn't love the taste and the texture. They're sous vide, which, I usually like sous vide things, but I didn't particularly like these. And they have those in the store as well. Here's a number of yogurts, granolas. Again, these are all extras. Grab and go bars. I know these you can get at Costco, for example. They're pretty good. They're kind of oily, and I think you have to keep them refrigerated. They have different spreads down here. They're adding as they go along. I think as COVID has become more and more prominent in our lives, you see more delivery services are adding things. In fact, I did a survey for Sunbasket recently, and they asked, what would you like to see? Would you like to see items even outside of food, which I thought was maybe a little strange just because a lot of us are so used to going to Amazon, maybe if we agree with that, depending on our politics, for buying non-food items. Amazon, at least in my area, is still very challenging to use for anything like fresh foods. You can get cold brew coffee if you wanted for $4.99. More salads. This is really, really extensive. This is like insane how many more they've added. Different bowls, rice mixes, more soups down here, tortillas, almond flour tortillas. That would be really good for me. This particular company, I buy their products and they're pretty good. This is a little higher in carb than their hard taco shells, but their hard taco shells are really quite good. You always have to click on the nutritional information. I'll show you here. So 2 tortillas is 20 carbs. I'm also trying to watch my sugars, so maybe that's not terrible if I just had 2 tortillas. So it's cool that they're showing some of that. They don't have a lot of opportunities here for restricted diets, but it's good to see at least that they have some almond flour products. I don't see the chocolate covered crickets, but my wife tried those. They're somewhere in the chocolate mix here. She liked them quite a bit. Probably passed them up and missed them. There are dips and veggie dips and jerky. Here's the fresh pasta I mentioned. Very, very good. This shows you the price point of some of these. So sauce is $6.99. Totally worth it. And the tortellini, $6.99. Those 2 price points for me are very competitive. Almost this, I would say, is lower than what you'd see in the store, just because some of those quality pastas, so-called quality pastas you see in the store that are fresh, I find the quality to be not very good, and I find the pastas to be somewhat gummy. You can also get like cooked and cured meats. You can get wild salmon, Gulf shrimp. So again, you could kind of do a inventory to see if this is cheaper than going to your own grocery store locally and picking stuff up if you're doing curbside or whatever. You can also get some of the meat substitutes like the plant-based chicken pieces, the animal-based. You can get ground beef and just a lot of options here. So what I would recommend with something like Sunbasket is if you're going to go with any of these extras, to think about whether this will meet your particular needs in terms of dietary issues, and then you can also look at the prices and make some decisions based on those prices. Okay, let's talk about just some issues that you might find, any of us probably would find with any food delivery service. And so this is just profiling some of the concerns I had with some of my meal deliveries. You could just see here some of the meals sometimes arrive damaged. In this case, we had some bad tomatoes. And I guess I should say, if you've been following my other food delivery review videos, every single service I've worked with, I've used, there have been issues, bad items, delivery issues with deliveries getting delayed because of weather. Often those are not the fault of the food delivery companies. This is an example of one here with these broccolini that it just wasn't fresh. And this was a Mediterranean lemon chicken. And so the rest of the ingredients were good. It was just the broccolini wasn't fresh. It was kind of bendy when we cooked it, just to make sure it wasn't good. In another part of the video, I show you the chicken tetrazzini, and I had an issue just with the freshness of the spring mix. You're seeing here one of the real challenges of food delivery services is that sometimes it's impossible to keep the food fresh, particularly in the number of days that it might take to get to your place, and then also the time it spends in the fridge. This was actually one of the worst issues, a meal where they had the wrong ingredients and we actually couldn't cook one of the meals. I'll mention at the end of this that they definitely resolved the issue every time. I'll show you the 2 ways, self-service and then working with an agent. Sunbasket is probably the best company I've dealt with in terms of just dealing with complaints and their amazing customer service. So I'm showing you this one because it's in a organic bag for garlic, but it's conventional. And so that's another issue you sometimes get with Sunbasket, is either the items are not organic to begin with, or they swap things out. I can assure you my Crest toothpaste there was not part of the meal, but I'm pointing to the fact that we received double of one item and we were short another item. I think it was a spice. And so you could certainly keep the second bag of cashews. But again, if it's not something you have on hand in your pantry, like in this case, some really bad peas, And what we did was we took some frozen peas out of the fridge, and as I always did, I went on promptly and they refunded for the amount, but you could just see they went bad. And so who knows? I mean, it's one of the challenges with a food delivery service, as in getting rid of the peas, is just sometimes you get bad food or expired food. This was meatballs, and I had cabbage on the side, and this was a real rare one. This is about as bad as it gets with Sunbasket, as you're going to see. The rest of the ingredients were fine, including the onions here. This is the I showed you that garlic earlier. It's the conventional garlic, not the organic. Sorry about my camera jumping around here, but I am just trying to do too many things at once. Just showing you the ingredients. And so most of the ingredients were fine. The issue in this basket was the cabbage. So as you can see, the cabbage, which is organic, was absolutely bad and was inedible. And so the issue wasn't necessarily, I mean, on the one hand, yes, it's bad to get something like that in your box because then you can't use it. The issue, though, is it takes away from the meal. If you don't have cabbage on hand, you maybe can't make the rest of that particular meal. So it's one challenge for any food delivery service is if you have fresh ingredients, sometimes they go bad. Sometimes you have an issue with things expiring in your fridge, and it almost would lead you to maybe shy on the side of ordering less rather than more. Just maybe to keep things fresh. So we're looking at here one of two different opportunities to make a complaint. And so this is in the case of ingredient quality. This is what they call the self-service system. Very handy to use. And so you can click on self-service and do that. It looks like I actually clicked on contact. No, I'm back on self-service. And so you can choose either it's your account issue, your delivery, or order. And so I can click on that, and then I can tell them I had a bad ingredient, or I had an issue with missing an ingredient, or I had some issue with the quality of an ingredient. And it's just really easy to use this because as you're seeing here, you click on the issue, and then you click next, and then you get to choose which of the items. This is great web design. I really appreciate that. You click on the recipe, and then you click on the exact item, and you say, what's the issue? You click next, and then they give you a credit. And the credit tended to be, I think, $5 or so. And I think that's fair. Like if you're missing part of a meal, $5 seems pretty reasonable for missing that ingredient. Now, you could argue if you're missing that ingredient, you can't cook the rest of the meal. And so that does become an issue in some cases. So the next we're going to look at going through the more formal process in which you get to talk to someone and they resolve your issue. And what I would say to you is if you have an issue with Sunbasket, it's certainly your choice to do the self-service. The self-service is super fast. You can do all of this on the app, by the way. I prefer doing it on the computer. It's just a little easier. But the advantage of doing it with a representative is you can more customize your conversation. It's actually talking to a real person as opposed to a bot that just kind of decides how much credit you're going to get if you're missing an ingredient. So you're clicking on help again, and then we're going to get to the part here where we click on contact us. And you can contact them about anything that you want. It's taking us back to that same service center. And good web design again in terms of how they've set this up to make it really user-friendly for you to get help. So 24/7 help, you can ask our experts, you can email, you can text, you can call them. And so I always chose to email, and it asks you for a subject line. And then I can put the information in there talking about some issue I had with my meal for that week, missing an ingredient, etc. And I'm just saying here that there was an issue with the turkey meatballs meal, with the cabbage that you saw, and could you please address that kind of thing here. I was just actually happened to just record this in real time after I had that issue, after we cooked that meal, because I thought it would be a good thing to show you in this video overview of Sunbasket. As I've said to you before, I think the website design of Sunbasket is the best of the bunch of all the delivery services I've used, and the customer service by far is the best of the bunch. I always feel like either using self-service or the more customized system that we're using now to talk to a representative always felt like I always got a resolution. It was never like I was just waiting and waiting and waiting. They got back to me very quickly. And I'm going to click send this in. And then if I wanted to, I can upload a photo there of the offending issue. And then that way they could see. So I upload the photo of the cabbage, and then they're able to see there was an issue with that. And hopefully they can use this to improve their processes when they're thinking about packaging items, when they're going through their test kitchen and thinking about the shelf life of things when they're shipped. And who knows? I mean, sometimes some things maybe escape the quality control, and that's what's happened. So again, I feel like the system for resolving complaints and issues on Sunbasket is really effective and user-friendly. All right, so as we bring this review of Sunbasket to a close, we can briefly focus on some of the pros and cons of Sunbasket. Again, one of the great pros is the great food. The taste of some of the meals, most of the meals really, is just phenomenal. So good. Just no complaints really about the taste on any of the meals. Occasionally there's one or two maybe that just didn't kind of meet my interest, but it didn't mean necessarily that they were bad meals. It was just a preference thing. Second, the range of ethnic flavor profiles is really amazing. Some of the other food delivery services out there, I won't mention the ones, but it's very like American taste and kind of boring. What I love about Sunbasket is the fact that they focus on all sorts of Asian cultural dishes in terms of profiles, Indian dishes, Italian, American, Mexican food, a lot of just different variations on ethnic flavor profiles from all over the place. So that is great. Also, as I mentioned in the review today, there are some organic ingredients. You do sometimes have to upgrade for some of the organic meats, and in some occasions, vegetables or other ingredients will be substituted organic, will be substituted with conventional, and in other cases, as I mentioned on the recipe cards with those highlights, not all the ingredients in Sunbasket meals are organic. Excellent website. I talked about this throughout the video today. The website is really well set up, as is the app. I think you'll never have issues navigating things. And related to that, the customer service is top-notch, the best I've experienced with all the home food delivery services out there. They really did resolve issues, and it was great just to have that sense of awesome customer service. And then lastly, there are great add-ons and customization opportunities. I talked about this in the video. I won't review those, but I really appreciate the fact that you're not just limited to the main meals, an issue that sometimes comes up with some of the other food delivery services. So a lot of pros in terms of Sunbasket to talk about. Now that being said, there certainly are some cons, as there are with every food meal delivery services out there. One of those is there were often ingredient issues. I mentioned in this video that sometimes the wrong ingredients came, or double ingredients, or in some cases there was real freshness issues with some of the ingredients we received, including that cabbage that I profiled in this video. I want to say though, these were issues, but they were resolved almost immediately, either using the self-service on Sunbasket or engaging with the incredible customer service on the website and through email. Secondly, I would say the price is potentially an issue. It is fairly expensive. That being said, you also get high quality meals, and the taste is really great, as is that range of ethnic flavor profiles. So with any meal service you're thinking about, think about the price, whether it meets your budget or your family's budget before you make the decision to try it out. And then last con, it's not great. Sunbasket is not great with all dietary restrictions. So if you're looking for low carb, if you're looking for low calorie or keto or paleo, you're probably really not going to find those, at least in the version of Sunbasket I've reviewed here in the summer of 2020. There are some interesting articles on the website about how their dietitians and nutritionists define high quality meals, more in terms of the nutrient value and less in terms of the calories. But for me, recently focusing on a no sugar, low carb, keto based diet, I really probably can't continue with Sunbasket because many of the meals have upwards of 80 grams of carbs per serving, and the calories can also be really high, well over 5, 6, even 7, 800 calories for a serving. So certainly with any of the meal services out there, weigh the pros and the cons and think about what service you might want to go with. Try some different ones out because there are great discounts for initial first-time customers if you sign up with a service like Sunbasket. Okay, so that's going to be it today. I know this was an extensive and long review, but I really wanted to give you a comprehensive and unbiased opinion of Sunbasket. So good luck in the choices that you make in terms of finding your own home delivery food service.